Hey everyone, Frank from Aborigine Reptiles bringing you a cage update. Last video we went over the custom cage and background design that we had, and basically just to kind of give you a recap, these are two custom wood cages that my father made as a gift and surprise for Christmas, and I took them and gave it a shot with the spray foam background that I've seen a lot of people try out online. Thought it was pretty cool. Got some pretty good results. This one's in the phase 2, just a standard wood cage, 2x2 by 2, I believe. And as you can see, did spray foam, already did the carving on this one, and put down the first light coat of grout and installed the plant fixtures. So obviously you can see there's a lot of foam still left and exposed. The second coat will take care of that, be a little bit thicker, fill up some of those gaps, smooth it out. But you can see you can get some pretty dynamic and interesting structures here that I think are pretty cool. Looks like there was a murder scene here currently with the dye that I utilized. So fast forward about 3 coats of grout and a coat of poly to seal it, to make sure that it's easy to clean if there's any messes, and install some lighting, and you get, ta-da, the finished product here. So these cages were the designed upgrade for our beautiful, as you can see, one of our Bredli pythons there. Perfect size for their next phase in life. Installed, you can't see it, but up here we mounted a nice little 12-inch UV light, just a pretty middle of the road, I believe it's a 6% UV. Bredlis, most snakes do not require UV light, but Bredlis pythons are one of the few snakes that seem to benefit slightly from it. They are a desert species that are out and about in the sun, so we've been using it in the smaller cages, and I think it's made a pretty big impact in terms of how active they are. You definitely saw a big increase in activity, as well as their colors. I mean, these are some beautiful animals from some great bloodlines. This is the Afros times Lazic line, but the colors seem to have popped much more since we've added UV. So these are not like a standard ball python or even a boa constrictor that lives in a low light environment most of its life. These guys are in the desert and are exposed to that. So we also put in an Arcadia fixture, one of my favorite fixtures, very safe, very nice, as well as the Arcadia screen cage, just to make sure that the snake cannot come into any contact with the lights, because these guys love to climb. As you can see, they get into every little nook and cranny. And then we put a small UVA micro halogen bulb in there. Produces a perfect little 90-95 degree hotspot underneath the light, but also heats the entire enclosure to the appropriate temperature. As I point out in the other video, we have some nice low 80s up here in the higher parts, and down underneath into some of that rock work, they can retreat down into there into the mid to low 70s if they want to get away. But the overall ambient temperature is in the low 80s, so that's really where we want it. As you can see, I'm really happy with it. The final poly coat gives it a little bit of a shine, which I'm not a huge fan of, so I definitely will probably switch over to a matte finish if I can find one. But yeah, I really like it. I took the final coat of grout, which was a much thinner coat, and I painted the entire background. Move these slides here. Painted the entire background with that, just to kind of draw it in a little bit. It's a little bit messy around the vents, obviously. It's our first go at this. But yeah, I'm really happy overall. If you can see the dimensions, some really cool nooks and crannies. Right under there goes all the way down to the back where it's a nice, cool, more humid environment if they want to retreat to that. I'm using a sand cocoa fiber mix for the substrate, which I've used in some of their smaller enclosures with good success. I've also spread that mixture kind of all over the rocks just to make it a little smoother to move around on. Put a nice piece of driftwood in there for them to climb on, and as well as I said, you can see lots of little, sorry about that, some nooks and crannies and different caves that the snake can retreat to. So a lot of different thermal gradients, which I think is really interesting for a snake. Again, these snakes, you can definitely put them in a rack system, but they are a semi-arboreal species that live in a lot of rocky outcrops, and trying to mimic that a little bit as much as I can with the space provided. So I didn't want to just put them in a boring newspaper, paper towel, or aspen bedding set up in a drawer. Giving these guys a little bit more freedom to explore, to have some good opportunity to exercise, build that muscle. These are a big, beautiful snake. Obviously, these are only a little over a year old that we're working with right now, so a lot more growing to do, and they are definitely going to probably need a bigger cage, a further upgrade. So, but this will definitely keep them for the next couple of years. So, very happy with the initial build, and just wanted to share with you guys how it went. I'm definitely going to be doing more of these. They are quite labor intensive in terms of the grout and the painting and the sealing and the waiting for curing. But again, happy with the how it came out, and this would cost a fortune if we were to buy a bunch of those pre-made backgrounds, and we wouldn't be able to have the flexibility of in terms of what we would like to do and design them for the individual. So more to come. Definitely going to keep doing this with a lot of the Exoterra and Zume cages we have. So stay tuned for those builds. But yeah, just put our Bredlis in there for the first time. She's been in there for about 5-10 minutes. A lot of exploring to do, and we'll keep you updated with this. So sorry about the dog in the background. He's a little bit crazy. So all right, guys, stay tuned, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks, guys.